We are going to look at our second grade reading curriculum. We have 2 books here. Now, the goal of second grade reading is to get them to enjoy reading. In first grade, they learned to read. They had to do a lot of phonics and a lot of work at reading. But second grade, we're going to try to get the children to enjoy reading out loud, to enjoy reading by themselves, and to get a smooth flow of their voice and of their reading. So let's take a look at our 2 books here. The first one is called True Education Reader, Grade 2. It has lots of pictures for them throughout the book. Lots of colorful pictures, which makes the children happy to see. And here is our first story, Children Everywhere. And you see here, it's just a short reading. There's no comprehension questions at the end. And there is a reason for this. I'm going to move on to this one, the Book of Books. On this page, you will see that there are 2 words at the bottom here, heavenly and holy. But other than that, there's nothing else on this page except a short reading and 2 words and a title. And so the way that you teach reading to second grade is you call them up to your desk. Second grade reading, come up with their books. You say, hello, we get to read a nice story today together. Turn to page 9. We turn to page 9. And if you have a whiteboard, you can be using that today, or if you don't, you can use one of these with a marker. So they come up with their books, and you say, okay, open to page 9. Let's look at these words on the bottom. The first one on the bottom left says, and sometimes they can read it, sometimes they can't, so you help them, heavenly. Yep, and the second word says, holy. You write these on your board. Write those 2 words on your board, heavenly and holy. So they will write those on their board. Okay, beautiful. Now, heavenly, that E right there, is that a long sound or a short sound? That's right, it is a short sound, so put the little half smiley face on there over the E. And heavenly, how about that E? Does that one sound? Yes, that is a short sound too. Holy, what does that O sound like? A long sound or a short sound? Long, that's right. So what are you going to put over the O? That's right, a long line over the O. So that says heavenly and holy. Can you, and then, okay, you can give me back your boards. Can you find the word heavenly in your story? Yes, there it is. Can you say it? Heavenly, very good. How can you find the word holy in your book? Yes, there it is. That is it. Why is that letter capitalized? Holy Bible. Because everything that has to do with God, that is divine, is capitalized. So Holy Bible, they're both capitalized. You see that? The Holy Bible. Let's begin by reading our story. What do you think it's going to be about? Something about heaven and something about holy, right? The title says the Book of Books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the top sentence, and then you'll read the next sentence. and we'll take turns reading our sentences. Here is a little boy with a Bible. The boy has a book on his lap. He is reading about his heavenly Father. The out of doors speak to him of God. Okay, you're doing really well. Now, when we read, we try to make our voice go up and down, not like this. Here is a little boy with a Bible. He is out of doors. We try to make our voice go up and down. So can you try that? He is out of doors, like you're almost like you're singing. That sounds really good. You're doing much better. So let's keep on reading. So you actually will read the story, and then you say, okay, now let's switch places. You read the first sentence and I'll read the second. So now it's their turn to read the first and second. So you go through the book like that, and then you'll actually read it again with them. Okay, now how about I read the first two and you read the second two sentences? We'll do it that way. Here is a little boy with a Bible. He is out of doors. And then after that, you will say, well, how about I read one sentence and you read two sentences? I'll read one and you read two. And you will actually do that all the way until they read the whole story by themselves. And you're trying to keep them up there with you for about 20 minutes. After that, they will go to their desk, and depending on your schedule, we often will have reading in the morning and reading in the afternoon. So the afternoon, they will actually go to the library that you have in your school, like a little, bookshelf library, and they will read books from there. So again, you are trying to get the second graders to actually enjoy reading and being good and have a good flow when they read. The book 2 is called From September to June with Nature. And this is such a fun book to use because it's all about nature. It's so many interesting things. Yes, I forgot to actually mention that, when you're done reading the story, the book of books, you as the teacher can impress the student with what was so special about what they just read. You could ask them questions. You could say, so what did the Holy Bible tell the boy of? God's love, yes. And what is the book of books? The Bible. And where was the little boy at? He was outside. And just make them really be happy that they read that story. Now over here in this book, here's like the first story. It's a little bit longer. We don't have any words listed at the bottom, you see. So you are probably going to have to possibly look at the words that might be hard for the students. And you could pick the words that you want them to write on their whiteboard and mark them with some of their phonics. They only know in second grade the short and long sound. So we don't mark all of the vowels, just the ones that are short and long. And you will do the same thing for these stories. You will probably want to not start with this book right away. It'll probably take a couple months just before you start this book because they are longer and they're a little bit harder, but they're so interesting that it makes children want to try to read these hard words. For instance, the horse. We have fine times now that the snow is here. We make snow houses, snow forts, and snowmen. We wash each other's face with the snow. We coast downhill on our sleds. Best of all, we have long sleigh rides. I mean, just right there, it's just interesting. Last night, Uncle Jack gave us a long ride. Came over with Star in a very large sleigh. Star is Uncle Jack's horse. He is a fine-looking horse, and he is just as fine as he looks. He is big and strong and kind. He has a smooth black coat. That just makes you want to read on, doesn't it? And read about the sleigh and the horse. So these books are true stories, and they also are very interesting because they're nature. And so, like I said, you will keep them up with you for 20 minutes, and then either right after that or later on in the day, which I think is better, you will let them read from the library for 20 minutes.